Tuesday, January 11th, 2022. I am your host, Ross Williams. I'm so glad you could be here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm quite aware you could have been anywhere in this world today. I know you could have been anywhere in this world today, but you decided to be here with me, and I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So welcome to Transition Tuesdays, ladies and gentlemen. On this coldest day of the year in New York City was a high of 19 degrees, 19 degrees here in New York City. Very cold, windy, winterish day. So, man, but I'm glad you guys came today here on Transition Tuesdays. I appreciate it every time you do come along. I really appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Man. So, ladies and gentlemen, want to talk a little bit about a couple of things we have today. Just want to talk just a couple of things. Kind of keep it short today. We have no guest today, but no, we do have a guest, and that is you, the Transition Army. And speaking of Transition Army, let me shout you guys out. All right, man, I want to shout you guys out, the Transition Army, for dealing with all my chaos sometimes when it comes about, the chaos that I have. Oh man, when things go awry in terms of like the sounds, you guys stick with me through and thin, thick and thin. Oh man, when I have these technical difficulties, man, hopefully I'm gonna have one now today, so that'll be cool. So I appreciate you guys. So I applaud you guys, the Transition Army. So I do have a guest today, and this week I do have a guest, which is the Transition Army, which is you, and you over there, and you over there. You are all part of the Transition Army. So before we begin, I just want to have a major shout out to the Georgia Bulldogs, who won the National Football Championship. Man, yesterday, I tell you, man, the Georgia Bulldogs, I don't watch a heck of a lot of football, but I did watch this national championship. And man, what a resilient bunch, the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, they were looking like they were hitting hard. They fast as all get out. And I liked and I love the story of the quarterback who was a walk-on. He leads them to the national championship title, the second in the school's history, 40 years ago when Herschel Walker was on the gridiron doing his thing when they won a national championship. So shout out to the Georgia Bulldogs. Those guys were hitting hard, man, and fast, hitting hard, often. And they just beat Alabama. I mean, Alabama is always up there every year. They didn't win it this year. They had the Heisman Trophy winner, Young, but they just couldn't get it done. The Georgia Bulldogs, they did their thing, hitting hard. And speaking of hitting hard, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about briefly, see if anyone's checking in. I want to talk about, man, this Omicron variant. I want to talk about that. Man, I tell you, before I just got on there, I just saw a statistic talking about how there has been 1.3 million cases from yesterday to today. 1.3 million cases of coronavirus or COVID. Man, this thing is no joke. This thing is no joke. And again, I'm always transparent with everybody in the Transition Army. Couple of things. I am doubly vaccinated. I got both shots. Also, I have the booster as well. So I have the secret sauce on 3 different shots. So I am that. And recently, I wasn't feeling too well. And today, I decided to get a COVID test and tested. And thank God, luckily, I tested negative. But I know I'm still not out of the woods, though. I know that because, you can test negative on the rapid testing, and that's what I did. I did the rapid testing. You can test negative, but then a couple of days, if you still experiencing some symptoms, you can test again and you can test positive. So I know I'm not out of the woods just yet, but wasn't feeling well, but I did test. But the great thing I'm happy about, if I was to attract the virus, which cross fingers and toes and everything, that I do not get it. But the great thing is I'm fully vaccinated as well, so that's a good thing. We got my man Chris B. Williams, Uncle Smoothie, the voice of the Jaspers, the Pick and Pop podcast, Mac Chat. We got him checking in on the check-in. What's up, Smooth? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays, my friend. So yeah, this Orion variant, they're saying that this might be another variant. There might be other variants to come. I've talked to some people. They've talked about this, and I'm not sure if this is true, but I've heard this. They said the Flurona, that might be another variant, as I heard, which is a combination of the flu, which we're really neglecting, and Corona. So Flurona, I've heard that too. Man, I've heard like there's supposed to be another one called the Omega variant. Oh boy, I tell you. So all these things are coming down the pike, and the question I have for everybody out there is, and I'm gonna talk about Fauci too, because before I just got on the air, I saw he had a heated argument, and he was on the Senate floor with Rand Paul, who was the senator of Kentucky. He was really going at it, but I'll talk about that later, in a couple of minutes. But the question I have for everybody out there is, hey, look, with this Omicron and maybe possibly these new variants to come and the surges in the virus, man, are we prepared, or do we want to go back to I guess just staying back at home? Are we ready to go back to the isolation periods like we had? Are we ready to go back to isolate? Are we ready to go back again and do that? I mean, I'm seeing schools nowadays. Schools are they're doing remote studyings. I know that coming up. I know that certain schools, certain colleges, I know before the students come back, I believe next week, they're requiring the students to have a booster shot before they return back to school. So with all this rise and everything, are we ready to go back to the isolation period, to go back to the homes, to leave your jobs, to do remote learning? Are we ready to do that? Are we prepared to do that? Do we want to do that? Do you think people are going to go back and do that as well? Is that realistic? That's the question I have. Man, I don't know. It's getting hairy, and across the board, the numbers are going up in huge proportions. So, oh man, if we have to do that again, I don't know if we're prepared to do that. I think people are getting exhausted by Corona, and it's taking its toll out on how we live today. A lot of incidents go on because of the heightness of masks, and now I'm seeing that we have to get these more regulated masks that will help out in the fight with COVID. I mean, are we ready to go back? Do we want to go back? Are we capable of going back? And I think the most important thing is, do we want to go back? Like, is that a realistic goal? Is that a realistic goal for us to be going back? And I tell you, it's a big fight. Again, I saw on Capitol Hill, I saw Dr. Fauci. He went at it with Rand Paul. Rand Paul, who's the senator of Kentucky, was really going at it. And he's going at Fauci for some time now about he's saying like you're misinforming the public about COVID, and Fauci lashed back at him saying like you're doing this for political gain, what you're talking about, and you disparaging me is causing death threats to him, his family, even his children as well. So heated discussion about it. I know a lot. The CDC is getting a lot of heat as well, saying how people are very confused in the process of what to do, especially during this COVID time. Let's say if you test positive for COVID, the protocol was you stay out, you isolate for 10 days, but now I think the CDC cut that down to 5 days. So it's kind of confusing, and a lot of people don't really know what to do. So Fauci was getting a lot of hits. I mean, here's this guy, this poor man. And I know a lot of people, don't like Fauci or what have you, but hey, I got to roll with the science. It seems like he's putting it out there what we need to do, and he's giving us the facts about COVID and how we can, go about it, with boosters and stuff like that. So, but him and Rand Paul had total big time, discussions about it. And also I saw when Fauci, he had a hot mic. Actually, the mic was still on. He didn't realize it, but I think it was a Republican from Missouri, I believe, really got at Fauci, just saying how you confusing the general public and everything. And I saw and I heard, Fauci said, man, this guy's an idiot. Jesus Christ, this guy's a darn idiot. So it was getting hot and heavy, and the numbers keep on rising. Oh boy, all type of stuff. We're seeing it in the sports world as well, from like the football players. And shout out to the college football, because they were able to survive it this year. It was little bumpy roads, little rescheduling, but no games were canceled. They got through it. Next is NFL. They're gonna get through it. The playoffs get ready to begin. They're going to get through it. It seems like the NFL is COVID proof, so they're not going to cancel games, and there will be a Super Bowl. Best you believe that. There will be a Super Bowl. COVID, all these different variants or not, there will still be a Super Bowl. The NFL does not play. With $1 billion industry, you will be seeing a Super Bowl this year. You will be seeing a Super Bowl this year. And also, so, and again, it's affecting the college basketball world. A lot of protocols are going into effect. My alma mater, Manhattan College, I see that they had some issues in the program, along with a lot of teams in the MAC conference and the NBA as well. So let's see what Chris says. So Chris says there is so much misinformation. The bottom line is we don't know what's going on. Sad but true. All right. So Chris, I appreciate your comment, my man. Can you pinpoint, give us maybe something like an example of misinformation that you're seeing out there? That way we can talk about that as well. So, yep, love for you to do that, Smooth. So, yeah, I mean, again, that question I ask is, are we prepared to go back and isolate? Do you guys want to do that again? Do you guys want to hunker down and just stay at home and try this again, give the old college try again for the second time? Are people mentally able to do that? Or are people just going to really check out and really bug out, I think, So are we ready to do that? Me personally, I don't think we are. I don't think we can, the genie's out of the bottle. I think, we passed that stage. I think we'll be asking a lot for people to just go and, isolate, for X amount of time, especially with these, if we had a blanket mandate for all the states, all 50 states, maybe we might have a shot to do that, but we don't have that, because that's a separation of government, so in states, cities and states. So, but if we had maybe a blanket mandate, in which everybody had to isolate, every state, every city had to isolate at the same time, we might have a shot. But doesn't work that way. And I know it's going to be extremely difficult. And again, people are getting aggravated. If you think people are aggravated now, ask people to go back and isolate, for X amount of time. I think all pandemonium will break loose, in this mass situation as well. I just don't get it. I just don't understand, people's theories on the mask, or I'm looking at this guy Djokovic, the tennis player. He's talking about how he said he had COVID before and all this stuff, so he wants to play. Hey, if you feel strongly about not being vaccinated, that's your business. But again, if you feel that strongly, you shouldn't be playing. Just don't play. And, go from there. Because again, it's not about you, it's about the people around you. So if you feel strongly about it, just sit it out. That's my belief. And, speaking of sports, like Kyrie Irving, I don't understand what's going on with that. Kyrie Irving, now again, either you in all the way or you out of the way. Okay, so I don't understand what Kyrie Irving's playing on the road, playing in cities, or that doesn't have a mandate, for vaccinations and all that stuff like that. So it seems like you can't be half pregnant. That's like half pregnant. Either you are or you're not. So Kyrie Irving, great player. You know what I mean? Either you're in all the way or you're not. I don't understand this partial playing. And again, if I was a team, man, I'll be really hostile with Kyrie Irving, because if I'm his teammate, I'm like basically saying, like, listen, we have gone through the whole protocol, the mandates and everything. We've done that. Why can't you do that? And if you can't do that, you're not with us. Can't be no partial player. I've never heard anything, such a thing like this, a partial player with that. Can't be done. Either you're in, or as my boy Ken Boyer says, either you're in or you're in the way. All right? So, Kyrie, and again, I just don't understand it. But again, that question I asked really is like, man, are we ready to go back? I mean, again, because the numbers are really climbing. Like I mentioned earlier, 1.3 million cases from yesterday to today has reared its ugly head with Omicron. Again, there might be other variants coming up. Again, so we're going to ask the American public, hey, let's isolate again. Again, and I'll state this, and I really want to state this. The only shot we have, and it's not going to happen, but the only shot we have is if everybody is mandated in each and every city and state. If we had a blanket mandate for every city and state, okay, that's the only shot we have in this one. But politics doesn't work that way. It's not going to happen. So with that, you're going to have, isolated instances and everything, and we're not going to ever get everything done. And then again, unfortunately, we might be asked to to isolate once again. And the stress on that, and again, I'm all with the genie. The genie's out of the bottle. That's not going to happen. So Chris says, but why do they allow Kyrie to play? Yeah, well, why? You mean the NBA, Chris? Why does the NBA allow Kyrie Irving to play? Sure. As we know, it's all about money, obviously. But again, I don't think the Nets should be allowing Kyrie Irving to play. That's my take on it. Because again, you got your foot halfway in the pool. You got to dive in like the rest of the players have been. The guys who took the vaccinations, who are vaccinated, who are in it for the long haul. Yeah, So I fault, not only NBA, I fault the Nets in that, allowing Kyrie Irving to play. You can't have it both ways. That sets a bad precedent. And we'll see. And we'll see how this process play out. And again, down the line, there's be stories being told. There's going to be a lot of bitter individuals, especially his teammates, when they don't win a championship this year because of the acts of Kyrie Irving. And again, I said it, because of his selfish acts of Kyrie Irving, they're not going to win a championship. You're going to see some bitter individuals telling their story about how Kyrie Irving didn't buy in totally and doing this partial playing deal, jazz. Yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work as well. Yep. So, Spook, give me another info before we head out, man. Give me, if you can, man, give me an example of misinformation that you're hearing out there about Corona and or the COVID. Just give us some information on that before we head on out. But yeah, tell you, I don't know. It's something to be said. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave with this, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think we're prepared to go back and isolate. I don't think we are. I think that's gonna cause more harm than good. I don't think we're personally going to be able to do it. We're not going to be doing it. We're going to have, it's going to be such a toll on us. And I think, we have to really check our mental health too. I think if we're asked to do this particular feat, again, we have to really stay resolute on our mental health and mental capacities if we're asked to do this again, because I just see an all heck breaking loose if that was the case. I definitely see that, and I don't want to be a part of that. I definitely do not want to be a part of that situation as well. So we'll see. Just stick around, stay tuned. You know, it's like I mentioned before, there's supposed to be some other variants coming out. So, oh boy, I tell you, I don't know. But just stay, get vaccinated, wear your mask, pray for the best, and just continue to protect yourselves and others. That's the advice I will give to each and everybody. So Chris says the unvaccinated are the main problem. Yeah, I think so too, Chris. And we have Malik Means on here. My guy Malik Means, he said a great thing. He says, we're getting to the point is like a war between the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated. And, the numbers show it. The scientists say, those who are not vaccinated, if they do acquire the virus, they might have a tough time at it. Whereas somebody who is vaccinated, because we've had a number of breakthrough cases, and if they do acquire the vaccine, if they do have or they do get corona or COVID, they might not find themselves, in a hospital on a ventilator. Whereas those who are not vaccinated, it might be a tough go with it. So, yeah. And again, the more people are vaccinated and the more that we can get people boosters as well, maybe we might come with some type of herd immunity if that's the case. But first, we got to get people vaccinated. We definitely got to do that. Chris says that's definitely not the case. Like I said, they don't know. What do you mean you don't know, Chris? About the unvaccinated is not the main problem? Or what is that what you're saying, Chris? Talk to me. Elaborate on that, Chris, before we head on out. Elaborate on that. Because, when you say they, Chris, who is they? You talk about they meaning the scientists don't know, or who? Who is they? Who is they? But yeah, we gotta. Bottom line is this: we gotta be vaccinated. We gotta be vaccinated. We know more now than we did back then when people were not vaccinated. But now the sciences have come about. We know about the effects of this particular variant. It's highly contagious, more than Delta. Okay, we know, and we know we're able to. Because again, people got to understand, and everybody has to understand this. If you don't know this, there is no cure for COVID. We know this. Okay, but when you're vaccinated, when you get a booster, you have an opportunity to possibly beat it, or you won't be in the hospital for COVID. Okay, I like those odds. That's why I got the triple sauce. That's why I got the booster shot. And I know they're encouraging people to take the booster shot. And let me talk to you a little bit about the booster shot, ladies and gentlemen, for those who haven't had it. So in terms of the booster shot, now, I'm a little bit younger, I guess younger than the average people who get boosters. But, like, for example, my mom got the booster shot. No problems, no worries. I know people who have got the booster shot, including myself. Maybe my arm was sore for a day or two. I had some headaches. They call it a booster headache. I had that for a day or two, but that was it. But that shows that it is working, and that was it in terms of that. So I encourage the booster shot. I encourage it. I really do, and that's what they're saying, and that's what the scientists are saying. To really combat it is be vaccinated. But the booster should help as well. So I am a strong opponent of the booster shot as well. And Chris says the scientists aren't clear. Well, aren't clear on what, Chris? Really on clear on what specifically, if you can, Chris? What aren't they clear on? Because, the scientists have spoken. We got people out there who want to be scientists who say, hey, look, I'm not getting vaccinated until I do my research. I didn't know we turned into scientists all of a sudden. But a lot of people they're part of that theory. on the 23rd with mild symptoms. Oh, okay. Oh, Pete. Hey, Pete, man. Just be safe out there. I know you said you had mild symptoms. You tested positive on the 23rd with mild symptoms. Keep us posted on that too, because there's been a lot of breakthrough cases like this here. But again, I think the great thing is you're vaccinated, you got your booster, and it should be a good go at it. So I'm glad you did that, Pete. I'm glad you're responsible with that. That's great. And I know you're going to be fine. I know you're going to be just fine, Pete. So I'm praying for you, my man. You're going to be just fine. But again, that goes to the fact about the sciences and about getting the booster, being vaccinated. You have a better shot at it than not being vaccinated. That's why, again, like Malik, ideally said, sometimes it seems like we get in a fight between the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated. But again, if you just be diligent, take care of yourselves and others, do by being vaccinated, that's the best plan of attack that we have thus far. So, we got to roll with that. We definitely got to roll with that. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we were able to make you laugh, smile, and think during this broadcast, you have accomplished something major today. So celebrate your victory. Celebrate your victory. As I play my theme music before we head on out of here. Hey! Yes, sir! Alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Transition Tuesdays each and every Tuesdays. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you missed our past shows and this show I'm about to post, you can always go to our YouTube channel, Transition Tuesdays, and do me a favor. When you're on the channel, please make sure you like and subscribe before you leave the channel. Very, very important. Make sure you do that as well. Okay? If you haven't done so already, you can always follow me on Instagram at Russ Will Transitions. That's Russ Will Transitions with an S. Okay, so thank you so much. And I want to give a shout out to you and you out there, the Transition Army. And I'm going to give you applause again. All right? I appreciate you guys for being the star of the show this week. I really do appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Man, oh man. Oh, as you guys know, with our sponsor, Sweet Candy Cafe, we give a candy pack to all our guests. Now, since you are the star of the show this week on Transition Tuesdays, here's what I'm going to do for one lucky Transition Army fan here. Now, before we sign off, one lucky person, that could be you, make sure you inbox me your full name and a mailing address, and that way I can get that candy gift pack to you. Compliments to Sweet Candy Cafe. And don't forget, guys, go to Sweet Candy Cafe after the show. Go on the website, sweetcandycafe.com, to get your confectionery goodies. All right? And one lucky person, you can do it now. Inbox me, full name, mailing address, so I can get that candy gift pack to you. Would love to do it. As Gina says, where those keys go to? You like those keys? It ain't a key to the Benz. I know that. I can tell you that, Gina. So again, ladies and gentlemen, as we say in parting, happy transitioning, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care, everybody. God bless. And don't forget, one lucky person, Transition Army, inbox me, full name, mailing address, so I can get you that Sweet Candy Cafe gift candy pack to you. All right? Let's get it going. Take care, everybody. God bless.